The American Society of Magical Negroes is a secret underground society, and their mandate is to eliminate white discomfort.
The name needs a little updating, maybe like magical black people, or I guess that doesn't have the same ring.
My name is Kobi Libii, and this is the origin story of the American Society of Magical Negroes. As a culture, I think we're pretty good at telling stories about overt racism. Slavery stories, legal discrimination, because they're visual, but the more common microaggressions are incredibly hard to pin down.
So the fact that you have it is proof that you deserve it.
Kinda.
One of the things I hope to do with this story is try to make that almost intangible, invisible quality of racism tangible and visible.
You'll use a white tears meter to let you know when their distress has returned to acceptable white person levels.
My inspiration for the story, it all starts with the magical Negro trope. It's a black character who doesn't have his or her own internal life. They're only there to support the white protagonist. And I was always sort of agitated by them. And the original inspiration for this film is just trying to respond to that trope.
Being a magical Negro isn't just about magic. As long as there are fretful whites, we will be here.
Roger is definitely inspired by my dad, who, with the best of intentions, tried to give me some lessons to survive in America.
You see that cop over there? As far as we know, he may be the next one to shoot an unarmed black man.
The classic example of that is talking to a cop. You know, my dad sat me down very early and said, this is how you need to talk to a cop to survive. And the American Society of Magical Negroes takes that philosophy and hyperbolizes it and says, what if being really good at making white people comfortable is a superpower?
Can we get in?
Actually, yeah.
Thinking about white people as well, there is a real shame in feeling accused of racism.
I'm not racist.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying. I was just trying to tell you how I felt.
I think the best thing is to normalize that feeling, because racism is very common, and I would say it's not the crime, it's the cover-up, right?
You're not a bad person.
Oh, not at all.
Right, yeah, no.
To use laughter as a way to look at some of the things that are broken about America without turning away, to me, that's part of the function of humor.
What's the most dangerous animal on the planet?
Sharks.
White people.
I think the most challenging part of filmmaking is being incredibly honest with yourself. For me as a black person to raise my hand and say, I feel like I over-accommodated white people for my whole life is incredibly embarrassing.
Watching you walk through a room full of white people is the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Humor is what makes it bearable for me to say that out loud. And hopefully, if other black people have experienced things like this, will make it possible for them to look at those behaviors in themselves and even laugh at those things.
You remember that white guy that just passed us?
Yeah.
You're blocking his way.
I'm so sorry.
At the end of the day, it's a story about a guy who has trouble speaking up for himself, who learns to speak up for himself. And I think that's a pretty universal story.